Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you, our viewers and listeners. Welcome to another episode of our archival conversations brought to you by Trans and Intersex History Africa TIHA. My name is Victor Mukasa, and I am honored to bring you voices and stories from across our continent that continue to shape our history as trans and intersex and gender diverse people on the continent of Africa and in its diaspora. So, again, I welcome you all. For those of you who are watching us on Facebook Live, on YouTube, and those who will come back later, please feel free to leave your comments on the videos. And you want to go back to this video even much later than a decade from now, find it on our digital archives, www.transintersexhistory.africa, as you see the website written on the screen later during the show. Today is another special day. We have a special guest from the country of Malawi. Malawi is a country in Southern Africa. For those who don't know where Malawi is located, it is a country in Southern Africa. In studio, if you're able to bring up a map with Malawi showing, please bring it up so that people can get an idea of where we are focusing our lenses today. Yes, that strip on the map of Africa on the right hand side, we could call it the East, lower than Eastern Africa, is the state or country of Malawi. Today we might learn a few things about it. So today's guest is none other than Sammie MacJessie. Sammie MacJessie is an intersex activist, executive director of Ivy Foundation in Malawi, chair of Power of Pride Africa, and coordinator of the African Intersex Forum. They serve on the boards of Eranti and the Southern Africa Intersex Forum. Sammie advocates for LGBTIQ rights, health equity, and inclusive development across the continent of Africa, combining grassroots activism with institutional leadership. They also hold a bachelor's degree in business administration and have done several trainings in the fields of tourism, project management, and other interesting fields, which Sammie will tell us about. So today, help me welcome Sammie to the archival conversations. My name again is Victor Mukasa, and studio, if you bring Sammie up, that will be great. Yes, Sammie. How do you say hi,
Hi,
in
Victor. How are you?
Malawi language?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. Hi, Victor. It's nice to be here.
Nice to be here. Nice to have you too. Thank you for sitting with us today in this conversation. Sammie, before we break it, I was just showing people where Malawi is located on the map of Africa, Southern Africa, on the east, like on the eastern side. But can you please also tell us one fun fact about Malawi? Something that people should never forget about Malawi.
One fun fact about Malawi,
Or
we have a
two.
river. No, one.
Okay.
So we're a landlocked country. That's the first one. And we have a river up in the north called Hewe River, which flows on a different directions than other rivers in the world. And nobody knows why, how. It's just a phenomenon that happens here in Rumpi, Malawi.
So this river is supposed normally should be flowing in a certain
It should
direction,
go down.
but this
It
river
goes
goes
up.
backwards.
Yes.
That's
A very interesting river.
kind of strange.
It is.
But also, that's what make one of the things that make your country unique.
It does. It
All right,
does.
viewers and listeners, I think it is time for us to note that down as something we want to do. Find out why this river in Malawi flows in the opposite direction. Thank you so much, Sammie, for that fact about Malawi. I introduced you, and I used the bio that you sent us. Is there anything else that you would like our viewers to know about Sammie before we start the interview?
Um, at the moment, no, no. I
Okay.
think if anything comes up, yes, yes,
Well, the
definitely.
space
I'll
is
do.
about you. We are holding space for you, and we are very grateful for you, for your willingness to share your story and to let the world know about some of the things which may not be unique to you, but using your life as we would like to honor your life during this show. And anything that we don't handle right, please feel free to direct us as we work.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, Sammy. So we'll go to the beginnings. We'll go back into your beginning, your journey as it begins. Can you take us back, Sammy, to your childhood and school years? When do you begin realizing that you're different? Because Sammy, in your bio, we see that you are an intersex activist. Do you also identify as intersex?
Yes.
Okay, and in Africa we have seen that many of our brothers and sisters have been seen as different, and also so many things. In your beginnings, how did you handle this? When do you find out? How was your childhood like, Sammy? And please start from wherever you want in your life.
Thank you, Victor. I'm not gonna go into the nitty gritties and the very deep details, but for those that know Malawi, and Malawi is still very much a developing country, like many other countries in Africa, and
Mm,
that means also information and knowledge is not always readily available for us. Unlike our colleagues, a few things have come in the country very late. So growing up, I didn't think there was anything different about me. I was a very I'm still a very, very, regular person like everybody else. But now when you're hitting puberty, that's when you start to realize the irregularities. Oh my gosh, English. And the differences, in some of the reproductive spaces.
yeah.
So at the time, I didn't think it was a problem.
Mm,
And I specifically say it's if something is not broken, you don't realize it's not supposed to be in that manner.
that's right.
You only notice that no, this car doesn't drive like this. It's supposed to be ABCD when you try to maybe use it or something.
Yeah.
So it was fine until now. I started asking questions, started wondering, and started going for doctor visits. That's when I realized I was quite irregular from our regular folk, and it
Mm,
wasn't a big deal. The conversation that was had, but then not properly detailed. Like I said, in Malawi, we do not have the right information. We are
yeah.
still using words like hermaphrodite in the majority of discussions about intersex people,
Mm,
which is
mm,
2025, but I'm not asking. So we're still learning,
mm.
and it has been a journey because even accepting myself with my condition hasn't been easy. You
At
know,
what
you
age did you begin that realization that something
uh
was not? Yeah.
around my late teen years, 18,
Mm,
19, 20.
yeah.
When my friends are trying to explain some phenomena that are happening, and I'm like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. You're
no,
like,
don't say
this is
yeah, no.
very well with me.
It's but you try to blend in, you try to be part of everybody else, but at the end of the day, it didn't make sense. This is when now I started asking family some questions
Yeah.
and whatnot and seeking medical help. Now it was a little bit difficult because even our medical expertise
Yeah.
we're not properly or are not properly informed about intersex variations. So now you're just a phenomenon that is there, that this happened. And with a lot of intersex folk in the country, or I think everywhere, we are hell bent on if you see a physical problem, fix it, which is a bad idea because fixing it in their interpretation means ruining it for you. The
Oh,
body,
so you mean that our medical personnel and
yes,
families,
our
when they
medical
see,
personnel, when they see a physical irregularity on an intersex
yes,
child,
yes,
as a parent, you want your child to be as normal as possible to avoid
the
bullying and
so-called
whatnot. You want them
perfect.
to fit in. Yes, you want them to fit in the norms of the country, the world. You want them to have a good life. You don't want them to
Yeah,
get bullied. And
yeah,
this is the narrative that is given to parents. Like, yeah, your child has come out with this, but if we remove this, everything else will be fine, which is the wrong narrative because
yeah,
now in the near future, things don't always turn out the way you expect them to. And now
right,
you're failing. Yeah.
right, right.
So, like I said, we have zero information, and this just doesn't go down to our medical health, but our parents, families, books.
Yeah.
There's very limited information out there about intersex variations.
So for you, of course, you went to the you did your research, you talked to family, then
Yes.
you got your answers.
I got my answers, but I would like to say I wasn't satisfied.
You were not
And not
satisfied.
that the answers were not precise or straight to the point,
Yeah,
but then even the answers I got meant there is still something missing. And what is it? I
right.
don't know if I'm making sense. There's still something missing in what is it? Because you're not gonna find it on Google. Why?
Yeah.
Victor, you've caught me on a bad day. But yes, so
It,
yes,
it,
the
it is
answers were
okay,
there, but
Sammy.
we should also understand that those answers were given to our families as what they know
Yes,
at the time. And this is the information we know now. So this is what we're
yes.
going to give you. So
They knew
20,
the
30
information.
years later, this is
Mm,
the same answers I am being given.
yeah.
And it doesn't really answer anything. It
Okay.
just now opens the Pandora's box on trying to find out what exactly is going on. Am I wrong? Am I not feminine enough? Am I?
Mm.
It brings
It
out,
sounds it sounds then
questions.
like that was a struggle, sometimes with family and medical people, but also many times with just yourself, you know, trying
especially
to figure things.
especially with yourself,
Yeah, and
because you're
that must
trying
have
to
been
fit in.
difficult. Is that something that kind of shaped what direction you were going to take? Because also, from what we read in your bio, you're doing a lot of work in Malawi. What how is the shift from self, just you, research, personal research about self, from family, from doctors, probably from reading, to what you are right now? What is that journey like? What inspires you then to take a certain route?
Um, Honestly, what inspired me were unanswered questions,
Mm-hmm.
unanswered questions, and the questions that were incomplete from
Mm.
the questions I had.
Yeah.
And with that, it created a journey of serious curiosity and
Mm.
serious. I was willing to ask anybody, and anybody any questions. And I was quite young and not very well experienced in the activism space. But
Yes.
you could tell that even the research that I found out there was not specifically for intersex people. And if it wasn't for intersex people in Malawi.
Yeah.
Because if you look at intersex people and intersex variations in Malawi, we're still facing terrible hardships.
Yeah.
Terrible, terrible hardships. Lack of information, living in severe poverty where we are not even aware that we
Mm.
have an intersex variation.
Mm.
And I appreciate the few people that are willing to always come out and have a conversation about, what the conditions they're going through, whatnot. But it's very few that are willing to talk about it. And unfortunately,
Mm.
once an intersex person in Malawi comes out, they're taken advantage of. You know,
Yeah.
Malawians are willing to donate to fix what's broken with you. We
Yeah.
have uh, we have a case that a person was allegedly um, assisted with donations to get a corrective surgery. It has caused 7 more problems, and this person is abandoned. So these are some of the issues that made me quite angry. and to start addressing the issues, to say not every intersex person requires
Mm,
surgeries. There are
mm,
some issues that you just let go and let God, and that is fine. But I also understand the hunger of an intersex person wanting answers and wanting to be, in quotes, fixed. You know,
yeah.
you want to feel what everybody else is feeling. You want to understand. You want
Mm,
to experience it, and that hunger always doesn't always lead in the right direction.
mm.
Yeah.
So, like, when you asked yourself these questions and you're not getting all the answers, is it something that in the formation, for example, of the first intersex organization in Malawi, Ivy Foundation, was that a result of you finding answers, not finding answers? Like, what was the push there?
So that's the funny part. The
Hmm.
formation of the first intersex-led organization in Malawi, it wasn't actually for me to find answers, because I was also not comfortable in my skin, and I wasn't
Yeah.
comfortable with disclosing such information to strangers.
Yes.
So the whole reason for Ivy Foundation was just to start conversations that people were not comfortable having, especially in the intersex space. And I wanted to hear what others had to say. I wanted to hear what parents of intersex children had to say. I wanted to hear the experience of intersex people without putting me in the picture as one of you. Because, like I said, it takes a while for you to be comfortable with yourself.
Right.
So that's how we began advocating for others, but not myself.
That is how I'm sorry about that. That is how Ivy's Ivy Foundation started. Which year was this? Started
2016.
2016.
Yes.
And how did it
It
start?
was we're just a group of people, and no, I was the only intersex person there. There
Wow.
was myself and a few LBQ colleagues, and the other spectrums, having conversations of the experiences we've had. And we realized that out of the whole group, there are specific groups that are specifically focused on because of the whole HIV thing. And our issues are usually, oh yeah, you can come back later, we can have this conversation another time when you're a priority.
Yeah.
If your condition brings in money, we'll have the conversation. But now, no.
Mm,
So
mm,
after we realize that we are always in the back burner of conversations, how
mm.
can we get our voice heard out there without it being Sammie said?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or Victor said. Let's put it in a space where it's all of us saying the word.
Right.
Yeah,
And so you founded it in that kind of meeting?
in that kind of a conversation. We were literally just having juice like normal people.
It's very important to note that you were having
Yes, just having juice and talking.
whatever kind of juice that was. But we are glad that the Ivy Foundation came out of that in 2016. Viewers, listeners, our guest today is Sammie MacJessie from Malawi, and in an intersex activist who has done tremendous work, has contributed tremendously to the intersex discourse in Malawi and work being done therefore. I wanted to ask you something else. Before 2016, there was LGBT organizing already in Malawi. In fact, it was LGBTI organizing in Malawi. And now, like I mentioned earlier in our backstage conversation, I've been to Malawi and I saw what the LGBT movement was doing in terms of activism. Was there outreach to intersex people from LGBTI organizations in Malawi before 2016?
If I say no, I would
Yeah.
say I'll be unsure. I feel like the outreach was there, but it was just it wasn't loud.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't something that was a pressing matter or a pressing issue. Maybe the conversations were there because we do realize that we also have some people in the LGBTQ space who do not
Mm-hmm.
understand what intersex is, and that is
That's
fine.
right. Mm-hmm.
And I'd like to think the oldest organizations, like SEDEP or
Mm-hmm.
CHRR, they have done some studies on intersex persons in Malawi before 2016. But I just don't think the conversations were very loud. We also we didn't know where you know, where to step or where people stand with the conversation. So yeah.
Oh, it's very interesting, and I think that is a very good thing. We should credit them for that. They did research before.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to understand why did
Yes.
they were trying to understand.
I feel like they're trying to just bring to light
Mm,
intersex persons or
yeah,
intersex persons that they exist and they're here. But unfortunately, it did not gather the kind of attention they were expecting or they wanted. It died down very quickly. It died down the moment it started. And you
yeah,
know, research, not everybody is a reader. So it meant you'd
yes,
have to actually look and find and ask them to say, can you please share your research, which is fine. But you're not going to tell an everyday Malawian that, oh my gosh, randomly, do you want to read the research on intersex people? No,
right.
they have better things to do. So,
So you have
yeah.
access to that research now.
Uh, yes, I would say I had access to it.
Okay, well, a big shout out to Gift, uh, Solam, Danka, and the rest for for that
You know,
area.
the whole family. You need land, yo.
Yes, I belong there. I belong in Malawi in one way or another. But it's always good to credit those who came before us and attempted to do some work, because all that contributes to our journeys.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you even know about that research. But it's very, very important to understand that you're doing the real work right now and probably inspiring more. So, how has it been with Ivy Foundation? What was the main objective of starting it? Like, what was it to do for Malawi?
The main objective was just to create awareness for, the LBIQ people, to
Mm-hmm.
create information, to distribute information, to go to the places that nobody wants to go, like the midwife training places, because this is where most intersex people with visible
Oh,
characteristics are born. So creating spaces in those spaces where when an intersex child with visible characteristics is born, usually they are surprised. And it's fine. I would be surprised. But now
mm,
your reaction is what's going to determine how this child's life is going to go. If you're not going to find out the right information, this is now where intersex children are being worked on as children. And when they get to puberty, it's a mess. And usually, most of these surgeries don't even fix anything. They
wow.
just create more problems. And these are conversations we're yet to have as a country, as activists.
Yeah.
Intersex surgeries do not always fix what you think um, is fixable. They just
Wow.
create more problems.
So, one of the things that you embarked on was to go into those spaces.
Yes, to create awareness, to have conversations. And we had, unfortunately, for Malawi, especially with my experience, the majority of intersex people are in the rural areas, in the hard to reach areas, which
Mm,
means you're now traveling for hours to have conversations with teachers who don't know how to deal with an intersex child who's being bullied in the school. They
mm.
don't know what direction to go with the information. And these are the kind of places we have to be reaching out to have these conversations.
Do you have both children, like little children, and adults? As are these the people that you are serving?
We do have young adults, not
Mm.
children, but young adults. I feel like children are some of the things parents protect a lot, and that is very
Yes.
much what they're supposed to do. But
Yeah.
young adults from the age of 18 and going
Yeah.
up are some of the biggest cases of intersex variations that we're having.
Yeah.
They also have questions that need answers. And like I said, these are people in the rural areas. You see an 18, 19-year-old
Mm,
coming to you and saying, I want to have children. I want to be a mother. I want to be a parent. All
mm,
my friends have 4 or 5 kids right now. What
mm,
is wrong with me? And
mm,
you're looking at a very handsome woman here. And you're like,
mm,
so
mm,
it's a conversation we should be having, but
mm,
also disseminating this kind of messages to an intersex person. Like I said, it's something that takes a person a lot to process.
mm.
And this is somebody telling someone like me who I am learned. It wasn't easy. Now imagine telling somebody who is in the rural areas as a typical farmer to say, the condition you have, the variation you have, you cannot have kids. You
Right.
know, it's diabolical. You don't even know how they're gonna take it, and it's never taken in a with a grain of salt. It's always, it's like you're breaking their heart. They cannot be something
Right.
they really want to be.
That's a
So
big piece of news
it's
to
not
hear.
always an easy conversation to have because we also do not have the right vernaculars for intersex because the
Mhm.
language that we have is very offensive,
Mm,
unfortunately.
mm.
Yeah.
Wow. And have you been able, has Ivy Foundation been able to reach, say, the cultural leaders?
We have. We actually had a good relationship with a midwife who was recognized by the country, who acknowledged to be having intersex kids born in her hospital, in a traditional hospital.
Hmm.
And she would fix, the visible ones that she could. And I
Yeah,
feel like to give her grace, she strongly felt like she's doing the right thing. She's doing the right thing. And
yeah.
that is totally fine. And
Mm,
with traditional leaders, we have had some few conversations where they are willing to actually have those conversations in the neighborhoods. We
mm.
have conversations in one particular village where an intersex person wants to go to school, but she gets bullied, she gets violently bullied because of the condition she has. And the
Mm.
traditional leader actually reached out for help to say, I don't know what to do. These people are bullying her because they don't even know who she is. Now it was just a matter of us trying to educate the people in the village. And we couldn't do that without the help of the traditional leader because clearly, look at me, I look like I'm going to suck blood somewhere. So with their support, it was an amazing journey, an amazing conversation, and people
Uh,
were willing to listen
so
because
I
we were
Foundation
just.
actually built that relationship that actually
Yes,
lets you reach those places that would otherwise
yes,
have been difficult to reach.
very. That's still very difficult to reach. Yeah.
And how are you? How has Ivy Foundation dealt with the religious fraternity?
We're still working on it.
Yeah. How what challenges are you facing with those ones?
I feel like religion in Malawi is the backbone of the country because we're a self-proclaimed God-fearing country,
Hmm.
respectfully. And religion in Malawi is very much black and white. There is no verse that talks about intersex. I'm not saying they're not open-minded, but I feel like when it's something that is referred to the Bible, religious leaders are more than inclined to listen and give you a listening ear
Mm,
rather than something that's just biologically a phenomenon to them. So
mm,
we're still working on that relationship, and we have some very nice religious leaders who are always willing to listen, always willing to work with us and give a listening ear. But we should also understand the hierarchy that's in their spaces because they might come and listen to us. We might have a good conversation, but maybe the big man at the top is not comfortable with the conversation. So
mhm.
such conversations don't always go somewhere. So we're still working on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And is Ivy Foundation, is it a national organization or just focusing on a certain city?
No, it's a national organization.
So
Malawi is practically a city, so
yeah.
yeah.
That's interesting. And when it comes to the legal regime there, the legal situation, have there been any? What is it like for intersex people? Um,
We do not exist if you talk about us legally. We are not in the Constitution. We are not protected by the Constitution. We are not excluded by the Constitution. We are just categorized like any other Malawian to say if I am violated as a Malawian, I have the right to seek assistance, but they do not specifically state anything about intersex people, of which we did have a research on intersex lived experiences in Malawi and drafted a bill and a policy which specifically protects intersex kids. We have a high number of intersex dropouts. Like I said, we work with kids from 18 going up. And you see, most of these people want to go back to school. We want to go back to learn, but they cannot do that because the places they're learning are, and they lack information of the conditions
yes.
that they're in. So legally, unless there's a bill passed protecting intersex kids, intersex persons, to say, you know what, as an intersex person, this is what you should know. As a teacher, maybe put a subject or a conversation about it. More intersex kids will be inclined to go to school. But now they want to go to school in different villages from where they stay because they do not know their intersex conditions. They do not know who they are. And that's like walking for 3-4 hours to go to a different school to get an education on an empty stomach, which is hectic. So legally, we are non-existent. We're just like any other Malawian. We are hoping, with some advocacy on policy, we are included in the constitution, at least on the safety and information on health and access to health. But until then, we move. I know.
How is it going with identification and registration of?
Identification in Malawi, like I said, it's A or B, male or female. And this is also one thing you find in our research. They said documenting intersex kids was not easy. For us to even go through the government documents on births and to identify intersex children, it was a lot of work, because for them to even put a single gender marker to say this is a child born with visible ambiguous genitalia, it was not there. So in Malawi, it's pretty much male or female, and if at birth you have visible characteristics, you look like you can pass as a female, you're passing as a female. It's plain and simple. It's just like that.
So that's how you found it, and that is how it is still.
It is still like that to this day. It is still like that to this day. It's that simple. Whatever operations, whatever they're doing to say, do you think, with what's visible right now, what do you think would be the most compatible reproductive organ? You know what? That's what we're choosing. And this is why now, years later, we have 18-year-olds wanting surgeries because they want to fix the things that were chosen for them when they were born.
Right.
If they left it the way it is, I'm sure with time the body is going to tell you what side it wants to choose. But now it looks like intersex people are demanding for so much when we're demanding for literally very little. Do not touch us without our consent.
Right. And are the policymakers actually giving you space to talk about it to them?
Well, yeah, we have policymakers who are actually more than willing to have the conversation. But like I said, it always matters who's at the top and who's willing to listen to the conversations. You send for Victor, and Victor sends Sammie to come to the conversation. Sammie's the secretary, just gonna carry notes and go home. So we have pressing matters. We have no fuel, Victor. Leave us alone.
Yeah, but we won't leave you alone, because we are together in this. But I mean, thank you. I mean, these are really very disturbing pieces of information about Malawi. But this is one of the reasons that we talk about each other's struggles. Perhaps we can figure out ways of working together in these situations. But then I see that Ivy Foundation, you as an individual activist, and Ivy Foundation are not isolated. You seem to be connected also within the region of Southern Africa, and perhaps the sub-region of Southern Africa, and perhaps the region on the continent of Africa. As co-chair of is it the Southern African Intersex Forum, what has that role meant for you personally, and for others in the region?
As a co-chair for SAIF, I feel
when did you become co-chair of?
Do I remember?
You bet.
Leave me alone. So, as a co-chair for SAIF, I feel like it's a very beautiful conversation, because it doesn't feel like I'm alone anymore. We are actually having conversations where we make sense with each other. We're making sense, and they're understanding each other. And this is talking to someone from Namibia, from South Africa. If you see South Africa, there are very inclusive laws on intersex persons.
Yeah.
It has also taught us that as much as we want to ban infant genital mutilation, we have to be careful, because now if we ban it completely, there will be some intersex kids who still require the surgeries at birth. So we have to be careful with things like that. So we are learning from each other and learning how our friends are doing it differently. Like how Kenya looks. I'm so jealous of those guys. Don't ask me why. They have the gender marker, they have the laws, they have the what. It's really nice. Might not work for us, but it's something to look at and learn from and see how best we can use it to advantage.
Right. And I mean, the Kenya and others were where you are right now. In
Yes.
Africa, we are at different points of that activism line, and the future is not. We cannot
Mm,
declare it dark.
true.
We still
True.
have hope. So the forum is helping you, Ivy, and Malawi to connect the intersex community to connect within the sub region,
Oh
which
yes.
makes you not feel not alone, and also
Hmm.
help. It gives you a space to share and learn from others. So um um yeah, this is kind of yeah talking about Malawi and where it is at with intersex issues is kind of yeah, it's kind of heavy. It
You should
creates
come back home. We'll miss you.
it creates that weight, and indeed you're not isolated. We are
Mm,
still together in this in different ways, and we need to work towards supporting each other.
true.
Sammy, the you have trusted us a lot with this story. Malawi is not an easy country.
Mm.
Last year, was it last year? We heard that religious leaders were marching on the streets of Malawi, calling for the death and all horrible things to happen to LGBTIQ people. And I'm wondering, how are these tensions in the country over the years? How have they affected intersex individuals?
Um, I would say intersex individuals are affected as just not every intersex person is queer. First of all,
Yes,
let's put it like not every intersex person is queer,
that's right.
but because we are coming from the big umbrella, automatically we are outcasted and ignored because for the obvious reasons and the lack of information and the lack of willing to read something so simple you can Google online. So it had the same way our fellow LBITQ, LGBTIQ has been affected, literally has affected us the same. And it's because lack of information, like I said. Because if you get to understand, we're not asking for special rights. We're not asking for a special seat at the table. We just want you have. Extend the table for everybody else. But because we are something strange, we're conversations they have never had, we're something they do not talk about and automatically demonize, eh, it triples down to everybody.
Right. It comes down to intersex, especially in Africa where people are so ignorant about.
Exactly.
Sometimes even
Yep.
our legislators are not sure about what they are legislating against.
Exactly. Ah,
How do you legislate against the life of an intersex person in a general, bracket such as that? It is really sad, even what our
true.
just leaders do. But looking ahead, I think that things will change for intersex Malawians, especially with the existence of Ivy. Is Ivy the only intersex organization in the country?
I no, I'm sure we have other intersex organizations. I feel like organizations are coming up every day. So
Yeah,
having a proper coordination would be great. But right now with the funding cuts and
yeah.
the political state with the voting, we'll focus on that maybe next year.
Okay. Before we get to your message that we usually ask you to leave for young people, I wanted to ask, what are two things, if you want you can list more, two things
Mhm.
that have changed within the community, or that or achievements that Ivy Foundation can say, this is where we have achieved this. Since we started, this was different from this. Whether it's in the
We have
community, in the discourse on intersex issues, whichever you have achieved. Just two.
so the first one we managed to actually lobby the Ministry of Health to start conversations on intersex persons, which was Yay, a win for us.
Wow.
And it was a conversation where it was had at the technical working group, the National Technical Working Group, where they formally acknowledged intersex persons and were willing to work with us in any way, form to advocate for the health of intersex persons. So that's a win.
Thank you for your leadership.
And
Uh-huh.
and secondly, we now have more people having conversations about intersex.
Right.
We now have more people willing to listen. We now have more people opening up about being intersex. So that's also a
Yeah.
win.
So
I'll take
very
that as a
needed.
win.
This was needed.
Yes.
And you're coming out and saying, no, let us do something, actually has produced fruits. It was needed, and it is still needed, and it's still going to be needed. And we
Yes.
thank God that you still have that energy and zeal to go forward with
Thank
this.
you.
Thank you so much for what that is bringing light. That's bringing light to a community. And thank you for bringing that light to our communities in Malawi. I see that darkness is falling, but I would like you to stay alone before we go and before this darkness covers you. Uh,
Yes.
uh, J- um, Sammie MacJessie, I would like you to just mention where you're from and the fact that you're an intersex activist from Malawi in the next, and then you leave a message for intersex youth, for parents of intersex children who are still really young, or even those who are going to be parents in the future. So it is a message to people who are going to be parents of intersex children in the future, a message
True. True.
to those parents who are right now, and a message to the youth that are intersex in Malawi, but not only Malawi, in Africa,
Everywhere.
because your message is what could save an intersex youth in Nigeria or in Mali. So we're going to
Okay.
leave you on the screen alone, and just introduce yourself for that one clip which we can play and share with people in different spaces. Uh, your name, where you're from, your identity, and then leave a message for people.
Okay.
It will be very
Okay.
important. Thank you very much. A
Thank you,
studio.
Victor. Hi, everybody. I am Sammie MacJessie from Malawi, an intersex person and an intersex activist. Apologies, I'm in darkness. But one message I can leave for the intersex youth is you are not alone. Do not go through this life alone. Speak up, speak out. Someone is always willing to listen, and someone is always willing to give a lending hand. And there's obviously no doubt someone just like you somewhere waiting for you to speak up. And for intersex parents, give us some grace. We appreciate you, we love you, and we know navigating this journey, it's as new and difficult for you like it is for us, and we appreciate your resilience and everything that you do for us as parents. And thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you, Sammie. Where's Sammie? Oh, you too. Oh, I'm still in Sammie's studio. Please don't make them run away yet. Thank you so much, Sammie. And that message was very, very powerful. It's a new one that I had you say to the parents, that you appreciate that this is new
Oh,
to
we
them
do.
too. It is new
Yes.
to them too. And I feel
Relax.
that
Take your
you're
time.
also giving them that grace. And I think it's a very good approach for them to know that we also, acknowledge that this is new
True.
for you too. And I feel that that was a very powerful message. Thank you so much for what you do in Malawi. Everything you do, you are contributing to history, the history that is going to make those that come after us, after you, proud of who they are, of the
Thank you,
journey
Victor.
that you have walked. Thank you
Yeah.
for bringing hope to Malawians, but not only Malawians, to Africa and to the world. I told you a message from you could liberate an African in some place, somewhere where you have never reached. So, again, for coming to the Trans and Intersex History Africa, we love you. We are here. And greetings to all intersex people in Malawi that you
True.
have access.
True.
They have allies in us. And here at
Come
Intersex
home. Be allies
Africa,
here, Victor.
that is why it is Trans and Intersex History Africa. We have advisors
Yeah.
intersex. One of our founders is intersex. So this is home for that community. This is home for the community. Thank you so much. Until next time, to all our
Thank
viewers and
you.
listeners, it is Victor Mukasa. Come back next Friday for yet another episode, but share this important episode with your networks. Au revoir.
Thank you, Victor. Bye.